Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and as you can see from our little video compilation here, it is clear that our next approach is into Saba Island, and that would only make sense considering we started out for this little bit of the series. I mean, we went to Alaska first and that was great, and I love that approach up there, but we came on over to St. Martin, and then from St. Martin we took a little trip over to St. Barts. That was this little route right here. And St. Barts was an awesome landing. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad I managed to stick it. I think I did pretty good. And it seems only reasonable that we round out our trip around the Caribbean here in the Lesser Antilles chain by going to Saba Island, which in fact is the Juancho y Rasquin Airport, I guess. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, not very far. A little bit further away from St. Barts than St. Barts was from St. Martin. But the good news is we're going to go ahead and show the departure at St. Barts just because taking off from that runway is almost as much fun as landing there. Well, no, not true. It's a lot more fun to land there. But we're going to show the takeoff real quick anyway. And then we'll hop over to the approach at Saba Island, which, for those of you not in the know, is in fact the world's shortest commercial runway. I think that still holds true. I'm not sure if a shorter one's been built, but last time I checked it was the world's shortest. So we're going to attempt to land there, and then just for giggles and grins, we're going to do a takeoff there. And hey, what the heck, why don't we do one more landing over at St. Barts, because it's St. Barts after all, and who wouldn't want to land there as many times as possible, because that's a lot of fun. So what do you say we hop on in the aircraft? We'll be at the end of the runway here at St. Barts ready for takeoff. We'll get that knocked out real quick, and then we'll zoom on ahead. You won't have to watch the whole flight from here to here, even though it's only about 10 minutes. We'll zoom on ahead. We'll show the approach into Saba. Then we'll do a takeoff from Saba Island and back over to St. Barts. We'll zoom over and watch the landing one more time. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So what do you say we hop on in the aircraft and get this show? Alright folks, here we are back at St. Barts. No real fanfare on this one. I just figure, we landed here recently, and boy, I gotta tell you, I think it was a pretty darn good landing considering I've got no actual formal training at this. I think I did alright. We managed to put her down right in the touchdown zone there, actually, which in my personal opinion is quite impressive considering. But, it's kind of cool to take off from here too. It's a short runway, got ocean at the end, mountains ahead of that. We gotta take off, climb out, and make an immediate turn. And we're gonna be turning to the right. Which if you've seen any video footage out of St. Barts, they do take off and turn to the right sometimes. So, yeah, not much else to say about that. I just figured we'll start out here. Not going to be real long. Just a quick reminder, this is not in any way, shape, form, value, anything at all intended to be a tutorial on the Aerosoft Twin Otter Extended. I know almost nothing about this aircraft. I am strictly going by basic piloting skills here. I'm flying the aircraft with my basic knowledge of how to fly an aircraft. That's it. That's all. No more. So please don't beat me up too bad in the comments. Don't get too worked up if things aren't looking the way you think they should be looking. This is not an aircraft I've taken any time to study. We're just flying in this aircraft because it is, in fact, the aircraft that most commonly lands at St. Barts and Saba Island and so on. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and get the bird up in the air. Once we're airborne, I'll cut away, and then I'll come back when we're approaching Saba Island. So let's get rolling then. Alright, bring them throttles up. Hold the brakes for a second. Don't bring the throttles all the way up, because see, the brakes don't hold it very well. Alright. Looking good, looking good. We got plenty of speed. We're going to be off the ground in no time. Look at that. Up, up, and away. Alright. Quick, easy takeoff there. There wasn't a whole lot to it. It's not that the takeoff is particularly difficult. I don't think it's meant to be. I imagine it is under certain conditions, with a heavy load in the aircraft and so on. But in this case, it was obviously a relatively easy takeoff. So Good, I enjoyed it. That was quick and simple. I'm going to go ahead and break away the video because these are meant to be a little shorter. I'll come back on when we're approaching Saba Island there, and we'll fly the approach, and then we'll do a takeoff from there. And hey, what the heck, we'll fly one more approach back here into St. Barts, just like we mentioned earlier. So we'll see you here in a few minutes. There she is, folks, Saba Island. Basically just a dormant volcano. But I guess quite a few people live there. They get about 25,000 visitors per year. This is the airport right here. It's at 60 feet above sea level, and we're going to be landing in that direction, like that. So we're going to start slowing down here, and I'm going to make a turn out to the right. I'm going to keep my altitude for now. Let my speed start coming down a little bit. I'm using the altitude hold on the autopilot because this thing's a bit of a pain to hold altitude in, to be honest with you. So I want to start slowing down as I make my turn here. And we'll just take a pretty wide berth to it. Not too wide, but once we get slowed down enough here, we'll start turning in. But you can see right there, there's the road coming down the mountain that leads to the airport. And there's a windsock right here that should give us some information on the wind conditions and all that. But we're going to come in, land her right there, and then we're going to take off in the same direction. So we just make sure that yep, we're pretty much parallel here. We got plenty of space to work with, so that's what I like. Let's bring in that first flap setting now, and let's go ahead and bring those props all the way forward. I know we're a little ways out yet, but that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and take this autopilot off. And we're looking good. I like the speed right now. Let's make a turn here, 90 degrees. Make our base leg. I just want to make sure we have plenty of room for the approach here. We're going to take it nice and slow. No reason to go quickly on this. After all, you have to approach really slowly to this thing. Alright. And everything I've seen, it looks like just about everybody comes in at a bit of an angle. Not this much of an angle, of course, but a bit of an angle. So we need to lose a little more altitude here for sure. Bring those throttles back just a little bit more. That'll help us to get down a little bit quicker. You can see there's not much to it. It's just a little spit on the end there. Just a little chunk of land, and it's kind of hard to see the direction of the runway from here. So basically, once we swing around, you'll have a better view of it. But it runs, we're not quite at 90 degrees. It kind of runs like this right here, right out this way. So coming on down 1,500 feet now. We can bring in another flap setting. What does that put us at? That brings us to full flaps actually. So doing good. That gives us plenty of time to work on maintaining our speed there. You can see I've got my speed down to about 75 knots, and I like that. I want to keep it, that's, 75 to 70 knots. You can see that once you drop below 70 knots, you get into stall speed really quick, so we don't want to stall it, that's for sure. We got plenty of distance to go yet. What are we, about 2 miles out, it looks like. Looking pretty good. One of those little quirks of FSX where you can't really see the runway very clearly yet. You'll have to forgive me. I'm trying to talk while I concentrate on what I'm doing here, because this landing's no joke. I've done it a couple times now. I have managed to stick it. I haven't gone off the other end of into the ocean, so that's good. Bonus there, right? Okay, so that gray area you see on the right side there. Let me see if I can get a mouse on that. That's the parking area there. And I don't want to quite be at that sharp of an angle, but we do need to come down just a little bit more, bringing those throttles back a little bit. You can see the runway now. We've got an angle on it, and our speed's looking pretty good. Yeah, so we're doing really good here. This is a pretty good approach. I like the angle here. We're coming around nicely, watching our speed, watching our rate of descent. We're actually just a little high now. Pull those throttles back just a little bit more. Let her settle down. Don't try to force it. This is one runway here. If you miss it, you need to go around. Okay, pull out a little more throttle there. There we go. Looking really good here. Coming in nice and slow. That's what we want. Good approach here. Let's speed's coming down nicely. Oh yeah, we're gonna nail this one, folks. There it is. Start to flare it just a little. There we go. Put it on the ground. I see no reason to take it into the parking area here. We're just going to go right back to the other end of the runway and get her off the ground. So as we're swinging around, let's trying to find my flaps there. Let's bring it to flaps 20. And there we go. So the landing not too shabby. Let's take a look at that again. Alright, not bad, huh? Let's go ahead and get her turned around and lined up for a departure here. Take it all the way up to the end. Hopefully we have enough throttle here. Swing it around. A little far there. Alright, we want to use the whole runway for our departure. So just like we did over at St. Bart's, we got flaps 20 set. I'm going to run the engines about halfway up, let them build a little momentum, and then I'll bring them all the way forward as I release the brakes. So there's about 50% throttle there. Hear them coming in. Full forward and release the brakes. She'll get going pretty quick here. We're going to use pretty much the entire runway on this thing, unlike out at St. Bart's. Need about 80 knots. There we go. And up, up, and away. Sweet, easy departure there. I'm going to head back on over to St. Bart's, and like I said, what the heck, why don't we go ahead and do one more landing over there, since it's St. Bart's after all. So we'll see you there in a minute. Well, I just had to land at St. Bart's again. I couldn't help myself. It really is a cool approach, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed this episode of unusual, difficult, and dangerous approaches. Saba Island certainly has a combination of all three, as does St. Bart's, as we've seen. And they're close together, so it was really neat to be able to go from one to the other and then back again, just for the thrill of doing it. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode, folks. If you haven't done so already, please take the opportunity to subscribe to my channel, and of course give us a thumbs up, and leave something in the comments down below if there's something you'd like to see, or if you've got a particular airport that you'd you'd like to see the approach flown into. I think somebody put on there as a suggestion the visual runway 19 approach, the river visual approach to runway 19 at KDCA. We're going to do that one here pretty soon. I'm excited about that one. I've tried it out a couple times and it's pretty neat. So that's going to wrap it up, folks. Had a good time, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. So until then, as always, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. You folks have a great day.